Hey, what's going on, everyone? Um, I wanted to have a conversation around Google Ads, specifically search terms, and not so much just the difference between broad match, exact match, phrase match, but how media planners and even as clients, how you can get the most out of your campaigns in the first couple weeks. Now, I'll say all that to say, like, we have campaigns that we run that just doesn't start performing until like month two, month three in certain cases because there's just so much volume and so many things that needs to be done to the account to ensure that it's performing at its optimal clip. And so, for the spirit of, wanting to be both transparent and also share some of the strategies that we use, both manual and others that are a little bit more automated, I wanted to have a conversation around search terms specifically. Now, if you think about it, Google Ads, incredibly powerful platform. Most advertisers do spend a lot of their time advertising on the Google Ads platform. And out of all the things, in my opinion, that are most important to a Google Ads campaign being successful, certainly let's your offer, all that, the things that you provide a searcher to have them want to do business with you, that's important. But for me, it's two things that resonates the most, more than anything else. It's the landing page that you're sending the traffic to, the actions, the things that's getting that person to convert. And then lastly, it's your keywords. If you get those two things wrong, even if you get one of those things wrong, you're putting yourself at a major disadvantage. And for many of my medical advertisers, our healthcare advertisers, all those folks that are out there, your intent might be to just reach individuals that are looking for a doctor or a physician near me or those types of terms. But we've seen many cases where you will tend to show up for keywords that you still don't want to show up for, even if you're just focused on exact match and or phrase match. It just makes it difficult. And so we've had some specific processes and solutions that we've implemented ourselves to really winnow out that waste. And so let me just take a quick step back for those who are like, what's match type in Google Ads? So, what's been fascinating with Google is that they've really taken the time to update and quite honestly take advantage of what they consider to be the intent of a searcher, but ultimately expand out, what they consider to be broad match, phrase match, and exact match. So if you came to me and you said, hey, Justin, I have a furniture store that's located here in Phoenix, Arizona, and we were going after just the word for furniture store, you'd end up reaching people. If we just did broad match, we'd reach people who did a search for home care or cream colored leather sectional. Now, maybe some of those are the right words that we do want to show up for, right? I get it. But there's going to be many cases where we don't genuinely want to show up for those terms. Now, Google's going to say that they have the magic pill. They know exactly what a person is searching for, their intent, but it's never perfect from my experience. And we've seen broad match perform worse than the other two match types. So let's say we decide to go down to phrase match, right? And we say furniture store, we only want to show up for the word furniture store or derivations of furniture store. And we put a parentheses around furniture store. As you come down here, you can see that, yes, we will show up for cheap furniture stores, but then we'll also show up for living room furniture deals. And then you'll also show up for other terms like what store is the best place to find a bedroom dresser? Now, for me, I still want to have more control. I like having more control within the search terms that I want to show up for. And even to that extent, even if I deployed exact match, I'll still show up for furniture store. But then I'll show up for another term like home furnishing shop, which, okay, maybe that is relevant. Okay, a home furnishing shop may be the same as a furniture store, but I can tell you right now, we've had cases where we have deployed exact match and we're still showing up for stuff that we don't want to show up for. So here's the best way to really get the most out of your Google Ads campaigns, focusing on the search terms themselves. So this is an example of a client, just started working with them like a couple weeks ago. And in this case, they are focused on cybersecurity in the healthcare industry. Initially, they were showing up for terms that were just not relevant. Like, instead of us wanting to ensure that we show up for IT, information technology, cybersecurity, data privacy, the word consultant, things of that nature, but certainly IT, information technology, those kinds of terms in the search query, we were showing up for healthcare consultant. A healthcare consultant is not the same as a healthcare IT consultant. You get what I'm saying? And that's why, as you're thinking about your search terms, and even if you go with exact match, you gotta be in your accounts on a regular basis, even on a daily basis, initially in the first, couple weeks of a campaign. And so here's a really solid tip that I want to share with everyone. The first is, as you're going through your accounts, look at your data over the last, every day, quite honestly. But the first thing you want to do is think about all the terms that you must absolutely be in your search query. It has to be in the search query, right? And one of the things that we'll do is we'll go into the data daily and we'll do something along the lines of, we'll look for the actual search term and we'll look at contains. So let me start here, contains. So I want to make sure that I show up for IT. I want to show up for technology. I want to show up for tech, right? I want to show up for tech. I want to show up for, let's see here, cyber, right? Cyber security. Let's see, what else? Let's say data. Let's just start there. So you can see that these are the terms that I want to show up for. Maybe I want to also ensure that I have companies, consultants, firms, solution services, those types of terms that tells me someone's in market looking for the solution or those services. But watch what happens when I say does not contain, meaning all the terms that I showed up for, despite having a phrase and exact match methodology to our campaigns, look at all the ones that I am still showing up for. Healthcare IT, I think I have to make a slight adjustment there. Let's change that up. Gotta put a space in there. There you go, IT. Okay, let's do IT space. There you go. Now you're starting to see all the terms that I really don't want to show up for. Look at that. Cyber. Look at all this stuff. Security. I forgot the word security in there. Okay. Let's add that in there. So as you can see that digital healthcare solutions is not cybersecurity. It's not as relevant. Ransomware attacks on healthcare. Maybe that's relevant because it gives me some ideas, right? Risk Connect Healthcare. That might be a competitor. I don't want to show up for that. Healthcare Consultant Chicago. I definitely don't want to show up for that. So you can take this same methodology and as you're going through your search terms, again, you're kind of over here, you're looking at search terms over the last week or every day, and you're trying to figure out how can I ensure that I am only showing up for the stuff that's relevant to the business or the brand. I can use a number of different examples. Another one might be, if you're a dentist and you notice that you're showing up for a ton of competitors. I see a lot of folks in the home care and home care services like roofing and those types of services, but also healthcare and dental. And a lot of people will be doing searches for your competitors. It just happens. And even if you have exact and phrase match, you're still going to show up for all those. So one of the things that we've also done in those cases, and I'll just so you can see what I'm talking about here, is we will want to see all of the times in which someone typed in the word doctor, or DDS. Because typically, if we are showing up for non-branded search terms, that means that those are people who don't have a provider or they don't know who's out there, right? But if they type in Dr. Schmuck or Dr. Joe or Dr. Patel, they're looking for a very specific individual. And so even if you show up, they may click on your ad, But we've seen time and time again, showing up for competitors performs far worse than showing up for the non-branded terms. So the next time you're in your accounts, use this strategy. Look at your data over the last 7 days, last day even. Use this tactic where you look for a search term and you just focus on the terms that you absolutely must show up for. And then you hit does not contain. And then you'll see all the ones that you are showing up for that you don't want to show up for, or that you shouldn't show up for. Even in this case, look, gang, notice how healthcare IT consulting, and I'm still showing up for productivity healthcare consulting. It's not ideal. That's how you get more out of your campaigns, and then you can add these as negative terms, or negative exact match or negative phrase match, whatever it may be, to help improve the overall performance. And you do this over the first 2 weeks of a campaign, your campaigns are going to really start to sing. You're going to get more efficiencies out of them, and then you can go to other tactics such as focusing on improving the overall other aspects of the campaign itself, or your landing pages. And so, I hope this was helpful. And I will see you all on the next one.